Hello and welcome to another edition of Gombe's Transformative Journey. It's a pleasure to have you join us once again. Today we have a packed episode for you. We'll start off with reviewing some of the major activities during the past week in Gombe State. Afterwards, we'll be bringing you an enlightening interview that's going to be shedding light into the transformation that has occurred in the education sector in Gombe. We'll be speaking with the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Professor Aisha Megeri. She's a technocrat, an academic, a teacher, and she has put her stamp on the education sector, fulfilling the vision and the ambition of Governor Inuwaya in that critical sector. But before we go on this transformative journey, let's take a break. We'll join you shortly. Over 500,000 smallholder farmers and entrepreneurs in Gombe State have been earmarked to receive support in the fourth phase of the Go Care scheme. Cash grants, sowing machines, farm inputs, pumps, livestock and processing machines are some of the items distributed to beneficiaries.
A total of 573,429 people will benefit directly or indirectly from the various programs under the three result areas. Of this number, a total of 152,429 people will directly benefit from this space, while 421,000 will benefit indirectly through implementation of basic services and rural infrastructure projects in their respective communities.
Those that receive those livelihood, urea and fertilizer and the rest. So in that case, it will really help them in their farming activities. Likewise, like this kind of laptops will really help in our studies. And then those that received cash will really help them in enhancing their small into businesses. Yeah, it will really help a long way.
Go Cares is a social support initiative of Gombe State to provide livelihood support, alleviate poverty, and aid small business owners.
Anan muna da badai mun samu ofis da bana aiki to mun samu rakama mun zo an ba mu kayan aiki to muna dan sakan kayan sanyi haka nan muna yin jakokkunan beach muna yin dinki har wannan carpet an zo an koya mana mun daina yin bara yanzu abinda nake bukata kawai yan uwana na waje masu yin bara barbara su yi kokari su zo ofis na su koyi aikin da muke yi mu gwamnatin da ta ba mu aikin nan gaskiya ba abin da za mu ce mai sai dai mun gode mai amma na saboda haka ya ƙara mana ɗan wani abubuwan da za mu ƙara na ci gaba haka nan kayan aiki haka. Yan Gombe rayuwa ta yi daɗi.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned and joining us on this program. Like I told you earlier, we'll be speaking with the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Gombe State, Professor Aisha Megeri. Professor, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you once again.
Thank you for having me back.
It's always a pleasure speaking with you. I remember the last time we had this long conversation. It was at the girls' school at Doma. How is that facility now?
It's almost 100% transformed from when you went last, because they have now tiled roofs, they now have more renovations of the hostels, the classrooms, they have the First Lady's Garden, all the 19 northern governors have their trees planted there with their signatures, their pictures. And Udoma is the Unity College where all 19 states are represented. All of them have their trees there and they have a sense of belonging because all the 19 first ladies were there. They identified with the girls from their states, which was one of the first in the whole of the family history of exchange students in Nigeria.
I remember that school and going around the place, the clinic, the hostels, the buildings, and the beauty of it. So now that you said that it's 100% transformed, I look forward to going back there and saying the amazing thing that you've done with it. But we just had a tour around one of the schools here in Gombe where should I say the Ministry of the State Government are also transforming. We saw hostels being built, we saw new facilities coming up, we saw some teachers' accommodation coming up. Give us a general overview of the vision of Governor Nwayaya for the education sector in Gombe State.
The vision of His Excellency, the Governor of Gombe State, Alhaji Muhammad is that of 100% transformation of the education sector, where there are facilities in terms of infrastructure for the students, in terms of learning, in terms of teaching, in terms of accommodation, in terms of the teacher, who is also of fundamental importance to the school, because we find that mostly when this kind of infrastructure is being put in place, the teacher is always forgotten. But His Excellency has said the teacher is not to be forgotten, because without the teacher, there is no school. And without the teacher being comfortable and well accommodated, he cannot be able to give him his best. So there's the federal government policy of what they call the DOTS.
Okay.
Data, out of school children, and the teacher. And that is what we also do in Gombe. So the teacher is also part of the transformative agenda of His Excellency. So as I've earlier said in our last interview, we have 5 mega colleges. We have 1 in each of the senatorial districts and then 2 in the metropolis. The one we have done is government science mega college. Where we have seen us conducting a special entrance exams for students who are going to go into these schools. The schools can accommodate about 1,000 per set. That means they will have about 15,000 capacity. Yeah. So this is the first time of the special entrance exams we are conducting, so that we'll have the best hands in those schools, since they have almost very good facilities, and then we'll at least be able to fit in and fill our quota in the tertiary educations.
But talking about these mega schools and the special schools, each of them, there are 5 of them across the state, and each of them would have capacity for 1,000 for each set. That's about 3,000 for each school. Now, I saw the exam that's been written currently. It's computer-based to a large extent, since it's going to be computer marked, and the student's number is all that is there. Can you tell us some of the security features and some of the things? Because apparently you want to make it very transparent and merit-based.
His Excellency has given us the mandate to conduct these exams, and he has asked us to make it free and fair for each and every citizen of the state to be able to compete favorably to go to the schools. So that it wouldn't be that I had to follow this politician or that. No, it's only the student's number, and we have a QR code in it, which will show us where the student is coming from, and that is the only information we need, so that nobody knows the student. They will all be admitted based on merit. And as you saw it, you see more of the girls.
Yes, I know that. I know that you're passionate about the girl education.
More of the agenda of His Excellency is being fulfilled. His campaign promises that more girls will go to school. Because Gombe has always been termed as having a high number of out-of-school children. But with what you have seen today yourself is a true testimony that whatever policies His Excellency is putting is already working. You know, investing in education is difficult because you hardly see immediate results. But Allah has dedicated His Excellency, has already started seeing the results during the lifetime of his tenure. More girls are coming to vie, and as I've told you, this is merit-based. So more girls are
getting in based on merit. Because
more girls are going to school, and more girls are performing better than the boys.
Because to think about it, the fact that in the exam hall today, I noticed about almost 50% or 60% are girls. And if they were all chosen from different schools, and the principal was telling me, the director was telling me that about 30 were chosen from each school, so that to compete across board. And if in the hall we have more girls, that means that in each of the schools, girls are coming tops. And is this a reflection of the success of the policy on improving girl-child education?
Exactly, and that is why His Excellency has brought the Agile project to Gombe, a recent girl initiative for learning and empowerment. This is just the tip of the iceberg. When Agile kickstarts, for the first, we are going to put in 10,000 girls back to school and give them stipends and scholarships and incentives to go back to school. Whether it is starting from the primary school to JS1 or from JS3 to SS1, like you've seen today. And then UNICEF has come in and given technical assistance to the state to do what we call the RTC model, retention, transition, and completion. We want these students that are coming to school to finish up to secondary school.
But talking about dropouts anymore, so this would also go in line with the BESDA program and the other programs to mop up children out of school, to also improve retention. Then apart from retention, also improve the quality of the teaching and the learning in each of these schools.
Because there are a lot of trainings for these teachers ongoing. There are trainings under different umbrellas, which His Excellency has brought into the because with His Excellency in the seat as the governor, a lot of things are changing because people now have more confidence in bringing in their support to the state because they know it is going to be judiciously utilized with visible results. When they come, they say we have done this, like where we are now. It's MTN Foundation that came here through one of the best we have in the state, and MK Ahmed. When they brought it here, we chose the school because of its being one of the best science schools we have. They renovated several laboratories for us and they equipped it, and then they have handed it over to the school. The best part is that it's not only serving the school. There are some satellite schools that are going to use this because this is now like a benchmark for all of us. And with this, you see a lot of other supports coming in. Where we went to the Science Mega College, we have seen a lot of interventions from Northeast Development Commission. We have seen renovations of teachers' hostels. We counted over 60.
About 60, houses, yes.
We have seen
then the hostels, the 480 bed
capacity,
yes,
bed capacity. And the best part is it is replicated in all the mega colleges.
The same infrastructure.
The same infrastructure that is here is just a little bit of differences. Because like this school, we had the needs assessment done. Like we cannot come and put up classrooms when they have enough classrooms. So what His Excellency does is we do a needs assessment first. After the needs assessment, then we say, okay, this school needs this school needs that, this school needs that. And then we now go and you have seen toilets by Soul Wash. You have seen small gardens in some of the mega schools by Akris. You have seen tree planting adopted by NGOs.
Then even the waste disposal area by Gosepa.
So this is how government works. You have to coordinate, cooperate, and collaborate. And sincerely speaking, His Excellency has put on us all on the pedestal where we can all cooperate, collaborate, and bring out what the people of the state really need in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term.
But that's the Science One school that we went to. Looking at the infrastructure, the remodeling, the accommodation for teachers, the buildings, the toilets, the classrooms, the large hall that we saw the students holding the exam. Quite a lot of money have been invested in that school, and if this is replicated across the Central Zone, quite a lot of money is going to education in Gombe. I actually heard some of your colleagues making fun and saying education is like the mega ministry because about 10% of the state budget is going into education.
Yes, and we're still increasing it because this is what you've seen is just in the senior secondary school section.
Okay.
When you go to the basic education, you see when we went for a meeting, many states have not been able to access their counterpart funds. But His Excellency, when he started, he was doing some very beautiful things. Because each year you give about 1.2 to 3 billion as your counterpart. Then UBEC will give you 50% of that matching grant. His Excellency has never failed in giving his own matching grant. I tell you this year he has generated the revenue to meet that. So we have not taken any loan from anywhere but from the state government to pay our matching grant. There are some states that have not even been able to do that. And now we are already putting up things in place for, they have increased the matching grant
Yes.
from 1.25 billion to 3 billion.
It's 3 billion.
3.5 billion.
Wow.
So already His Excellency is putting that in order so that immediately we are ready for it, the work plan is ready, and then we go and defend it in SUBEB. Immediately they approve the work plan, our money, our counterpart is going, then the UBEB will also give us. So you see we have over 7 billion.
Wow. In education, apart from the normal statutory budgetary allocation.
And then what we are seeing is mostly even interventions from other agencies.
From other agencies, North East Development Commission, NGOs, MTN Foundation.
NGOs,
But this comes with trust. That means that they trust you and they trust His Excellency to put the money and their resources to good use.
They trust His Excellency because he's at the helm of affairs.
Yes.
We are just foot soldiers
Carrying out his vision.
executing his vision.
He's the general, you are the officers executing
Yes,
his
sincerely, there's a
vision.
lot of trust out there for His Excellency that he keeps his words and he's very prudent financially. Because whatever you give them the state, it's very accountable. You see it on ground, you see its impact on people, on the immediate environment, and so on. Because when you go to our secondary schools, you see them as if they are institutions of higher learning, not just secondary schools. Because of the prudency and then the strict monitoring and evaluation of what goes on. And as I told you, it's replicated in other 4 schools that you have seen today from the Science College,
yes.
and then we're working on other schools. Like NEDC has now put, there's a school nearby called Ahmadu Gombe.
Yes.
They have demolished it to the ground and they're putting up a new structure.
Totally brand new
About
structure.
18 classrooms, they have the exam hall, they have the computer laboratory, they have the library, they have the computer room, they have the admin block, they have toilets, and then they have landscaping. So it's a totally new school that is going to come up there.
Absolutely. But let's talk about teacher-student ratio. It's always a challenge in most places where we talk about, we don't have, most schools don't have enough teachers and co. But I saw from where we went to today that we could even see students roaming the roads or in the hostels. When we saw the hostels were totally empty because it was school hour. And it's as if the student-teacher ratio has really improved significantly. In Science 2, you're telling me that they have about almost 90 teachers right now.
Yes, they have
Science 1.
90 teachers. And the student-teacher ratio is very good because it is still an approved number. I think it's about 1 to 30 or 40,
which is pretty good.
Even though we have, as everywhere, you
Yes.
have a chunk of the students in the metropolis.
Yes.
So we make sure that most of our teachers
are in the metropolis.
In the schools that they are needed. But that notwithstanding, in 2022, His Excellency has recruited 1,000 teachers, and he has given approval for 288 teachers to be transferred from the local education authority to the state. And he has also given approval now for 438 teachers from NEA who have acquired their first degree to move on to their state. And we're also cascading that down to the basic education. Because as people are leaving, people are retiring, we need to. So we are also working on that, and we'll soon get it, and His Excellency will give his approval. So it's going to be an all-round system, because we cannot be working at the senior secondary level while the junior secondary level is, and the basic education level is not because that's the foundation. So it is an all-round affair, and whatever is happening in the basic education is happening at the senior level. And now, I forgot to tell you, His Excellency has approved the Senior Secondary Education Board.
Okay, Senior Secondary Education Board, just like the Basic Education Board.
So it is from the national, that they have a national, what they call the National Senior Secondary Education Commission. So in Gombe, we have the State Senior Education Board, which is going to take over a lot of functions like that of SUBEB. And just as SUBEB is going to give counterpart, the state is also going to give its counterpart. And then the federal is going to give its own. So it's going to take over infrastructure. In fact, we have launched a few weeks back. We have gone to one of our first projects in government secondary school, Akwe, where about 1.3 billion naira is going to be put in that school. So you see, this is going to be
sometimes when I hear,
because some states already have not done that, but when you have your state doing the right thing, A lot of things.
I'm sure you're very proud sometimes when you go for conferences or meetings and you say you're from Gombe, you're the Commissioner of Education in Gombe, and they're like, okay, your state is doing well. And you feel pretty proud.
I feel pretty proud of my governor.
Yes.
Because he is the one with the vision. Sincerely, his vision is superlative, if I can use that word, because you just wonder how, with all the governance issues, but he's still able to monitor and ensure that things work well. We are just the
Foot soldiers are executing
his mission and vision, and making sure that all his campaign promises and to the people of Gombe State who have elected him, they all feel the dividends of democracy.
So, but let's talk about this initiative, the private-public partnership. You spoke about the improvement of the students in external examination and some of the drive that the innovation that you're bringing to bear to also improve more on that. Can you share some of it with us?
Very good. You know, there are always, we have private schools under the auspices of 2 or 3 organizations. We have the National Association of Private School Owners, we have the NABs, we have about 3 of them. So we have started working with one of the schools. In fact, they invited us for a program when we went. After seeing what they did, we want to collaborate with them because their students have continuously for 9 years produced one of the best results in Gombe. We made sure that they were honest results, not cheating their way through as it's done somewhere. So we felt we need to collaborate. In fact, there was a conference earlier this year, in the middle of the year, which I attended and I gave them the project. It's kind of a private-public partnership, a kind of corporate social responsibility, but without any financial implication on both sides.
Okay.
We found out that these private schools are just doing like that. There are a lot of benefits outside that they are not benefited, they don't even know about it. And then there are some best practices that we need from them as a public organization. What happens is that for most government schools, you see that we have a large number of students. Like now in this school that we are, in one arm of school, we have like 700 students. And as you see, there's no single student out of it. When you calculate 750 by 3, you have about how many students? And we are still not seeing one student because we all have classrooms and teachers to accommodate them. So what we did is we said, okay, they have produced over 20 students with 250 in JAM and above. So what can they do to train our students? So we now collaborated, we have brought out a curriculum and syllabus to work with. So all through the long vacation, we have been working, we talked to the parents, they agreed, and we had about 55 students whom we are working with. Now what we did is after that, there were fresher trainings, even for the teachers, both on the side of government and on the side of the school, which is Premises Academy. So after that, we conducted an exams for our students. Okay. So, and then we asked them, okay, we have some clubs that they are not even aware of. They were working on climate change clubs, but we had international organizations working with the state
on those things already.
Those things they were doing. So we felt, okay, if we bring them on board, we also give them an opportunity to see what government is doing. So they have now done the climate change clubs, that's the eco clubs. They have done the LOG club, global learning for observation to benefit the earth. So they are now putting the best practices on the side of the school here, giving them the tips and whatever it is that they are learning weekly here. And then those schools are giving them the tips they are doing every week here. So it's like an academic collaboration. But we call it adopted school. They have adopted science too, and we have also adopted them. So it's a
cross-fertilization. So you're giving them value, they're also giving you some good value.
Because as a government, we are not going to be looked upon as if we are always the parasites. So we also have best practices that they do not have.
The fact that the government feeds the students and it's highly subsidized and it's almost free in these tough economic times, that has also helped to improve enrollment, hasn't it?
It has very well. And resumption now, we don't even have to follow them to come back to school. The first week, they are almost all there. Initially, it will take about 3 weeks. I will have to even go myself with the family secretaries, directors, going to school and making sure that these students come back to school. But now, within the first week, they are back. because there's an improvement in their feeding, and then there are a lot of other innovative methods of feeding that His Excellency has put in place, which are paying off. And I tell you, this is just the beginning, because when he rolls out the ball he has and leaving it to him to roll it out himself, you'll see that people going to boarding schools will increase tremendously. That is why when you saw the projects, you said this is a mega project. I said the governor thinks in a mega way, so that he, at least for the next 5 to 10 years, there will be no need to increase the facilities there. Because already he has taken care of it. Because each school can comfortably, in the mega colleges, accommodate 3,000 students.
Well, it's really been a pleasure speaking with you, ma'am. Every time I get to talk to you, you always have something fresh, something new to talk about. It's as if education in Gombe is never static. There's always a new project, there's a new idea, there's a new innovation that you and your principal, the governor of Gombe State, His Excellency Alhaji Nwayaya, is always bringing on board. And we can see the results in the performance, the quality of teaching and the learning, and also the welfare of the teachers and the caregivers. Thank you so much, ma, for this opportunity. And that's the much we can bring to you on this episode of Gombe's Transformative Journey. Thank you for staying tuned with us. Do join us again same time next week. But if you miss any of our episodes, you can watch it again on our social media platforms. I am Landry Hadeyemi.